What if improving your English could feel like unlocking a whole new world? Let this story be your first key. Hi everyone, welcome back to LMJ English, the place where stories and learning come together. If you're looking to improve your English through meaningful, emotional, and powerful storytelling, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story that can transform your English journey. Section 1. The Power of Reading in English. What if a single page could change the way you learn English? Not through pressure or perfection, but through presence, emotion, and curiosity. That's what reading offers. It's not just an academic skill. It's a gentle guide, a patient friend, a quiet revolution happening each time your eyes glide across a sentence. Reading in English has the unique power to grow with you, meeting you wherever you are, beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and lifting you gently, word by word, thought by thought, into a place of understanding. Imagine this. You're curled up in a quiet corner with a book in your hands. The world outside fades. Now, you're walking through a rainy London street with a lonely character. You're feeling the warmth of a family dinner in an American small town. You're witnessing a heartfelt conversation between two strangers on a New York subway. And all of this, every bit of emotion, every piece of culture, every tiny grammar pattern is coming to you naturally, without stress, without fear. That is the quiet magic of reading. Vocabulary. It doesn't feel like studying anymore. You're not staring at a long list hoping something sticks. Instead, new words greet you like friends introduced at a dinner party. You see how they behave in a sentence. You notice how they dress up in different meanings. You watch them interact with verbs, with feelings, with action. And because you met them in a real story, you remember them, not because you had to, but because you wanted to. And grammar? It becomes invisible, yet unforgettable. As you read, your brain begins to notice patterns. Without effort, you absorb sentence structures, tenses, punctuation, and rhythm. It's like learning to dance by watching others move, feeling the music through their footsteps. Over time, grammar starts to feel natural, not like a puzzle to solve, but like a melody you can hum without thinking. But there's something even deeper, something most textbooks never give you. Reading opens your heart to the culture behind the language. It lets you see how native speakers express joy, sadness, humor, and love. You start to feel the soul of the language. You begin to understand not just the words, but the people, their values, their emotions, their daily lives. And when that happens, English stops being foreign. It starts to feel like a home you're slowly decorating with your own stories. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't need to be perfect to start. You don't need to understand every single word. All you need is curiosity and a little bit of time. Even 10 minutes a day can change how you feel about English. With every page, you build confidence. With every paragraph, you feel a little braver. You realize, yes, I can understand, I can enjoy, I can grow. So the next time you pick up something to read, whether it's a short story, a magazine article, or even the subtitles on a show, remember this. You're not just reading English. You're becoming someone who lives in it, someone who thinks, feels, and dreams in a new language. That's not just learning, that's transformation. Section 2. Why reading is effective. Have you ever tried to memorize a long list of English? Words and only to forget them the next day? You're not alone. Many learners start this way. writing, repeating, even singing vocabulary lists, hoping something will stick. But what if there was a better way? What if the key to remembering English wasn't repetition but connection? That's where reading comes in. It doesn't just teach you words, it lets you live with them. When you read a sentence like, "She tiptoed quietly through the dark kitchen," you don't just learn the word tiptoed, you feel it. You see her in your mind. You feel the tension, the silence, the fear of waking someone up. That's learning in context, and context is powerful, because when you experience a word in a situation, it's no longer just a word. It's a story, a memory, a moment, and your brain loves stories. The same thing happens with grammar. Think about it. Would you rather study present perfect for an hour, or read a paragraph where someone says, "I've never seen anything so beautiful"? Reading allows grammar to become part of the background music. It's always playing, gently guiding your understanding, without needing to explain itself. You absorb structures naturally, like sunlight warming your skin without you needing to know the science behind it. And something amazing happens the more you read. Your mind starts to shift. Slowly, you stop translating every word into your native language. You begin to think in English. Your brain starts to guess meanings, to connect ideas, to feel the rhythm of the language. It's like learning to ride a bike. You wobble at first, but one day you're just doing it. No effort, just flow. Even your confidence begins to change. Every time you finish reading a page, an article, or a short story, you've achieved something. Maybe you didn't understand every single word, but you stayed with it. You figured out the meaning. You kept going. And that sense of achievement adds up. One small win at a time, your confidence grows. You stop saying, "I'm not good at English." Instead, you say, "I'm getting better. I'm learning every day." And let's not forget the heart of language, culture. Reading introduces you to how people live in English-speaking countries. It shows you their humor, their habits, their hopes and fears. You learn about things that grammar books can't teach, like why someone might say, "It's raining cats and dogs," or what it feels like to grow up in a small town in Ireland. These moments help you connect emotionally with the language. They make English not just something you study, but something you feel. So the next time you're unsure whether reading is worth it, remember this. It's not just about learning English, it's about learning to think, to feel, and to believe in English. And once that happens, your journey becomes more than just a goal. It becomes a beautiful experience. Section 3. Reading benefits at different levels. No matter where you are on your English learning journey, there's a book, or even just a paragraph, waiting to meet you right where you are. Reading is one of the few tools that can adapt to your level, your mood, and your goals. It grows with you. It comforts you when you're just beginning, challenges you when you're ready for more, and stretches your thinking when you've come far. For beginners, the gentle first steps. Starting to learn English can feel like standing at the base of a tall mountain. You look up and wonder, how will I ever reach the top? But with reading, the climb becomes kinder. Picture a beginner picking up a children's story or a graded reader. The sentences are simple, the pictures are colorful, but the magic? It's real. Each new word becomes a stepping stone. Each page brings a gentle boost of confidence. I understood that. These early texts use repetition, rhythm, and basic grammar structures to slowly introduce the learner to the language, without overwhelm. It's not about speed, it's about creating moments of success, and success leads to motivation. Bit by bit, a foundation forms, not just in vocabulary, but in believing that English is possible. For intermediate learners, the awakening. Now imagine someone who knows the basics. They can read short texts, follow a conversation, maybe even write a simple paragraph. This is where the real adventure begins. For intermediate learners, reading becomes a rich tool to expand vocabulary, uncover idioms and phrasal verbs, and dive into more complex ideas. At this level, a learner might open a novel or a blog post and think, wow, there's a lot here I don't know. But the beauty is, they can still follow the story. They can guess meanings from context. They can start to enjoy the rhythm of the language. Every unknown phrase becomes a puzzle to solve, and every solved puzzle builds both skill and pride. Idiomatic expressions like break the ice or spill the beans appear often, and reading helps learners understand not just what they mean but how and when to use them. The language starts to sound more natural, more alive. Learners begin to think, not just study, and with that, their fluency blossoms. For advanced learners, the deep dive. Now we step into the mind of an advanced learner, someone who already understands complex grammar and holds long conversations. What can reading offer them? The answer: depth, nuance, power. Advanced readers dive into literature, essays, academic articles, and news from around the world. These texts aren't just about language, they're about ideas. They challenge the reader to think critically, to evaluate arguments, to feel the weight of words. A single sentence in a novel can contain layers of meaning. A well-written editorial can spark deep reflection. At this level, reading helps learners explore rhetorical devices, sharpen their writing voice, and speak with clarity and confidence. They begin to notice tone, subtext, irony, and emotional undertones. They connect to the writer's purpose. They start to see English not just as a language, but as an art form. So whether you're just learning to say hello or you're preparing for university abroad, reading has something to give you. It meets you with kindness when you're starting, with challenges when you're growing, and with wisdom when you're ready to fly. Reading, simply put, is not just a skill, it's a companion for every step of the way. Section 4. Practical tips to start reading. Starting a new habit can feel overwhelming, especially when that habit involves a foreign language. But what if starting to read in English didn't have to be hard? What if it could be joyful, light, and something you actually look forward to? The truth is, it can be. With the right mindset and a few simple strategies, reading in English can become not only a tool for learning, but a daily ritual of discovery and growth. Start small and choose topics of interest. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is trying to read something too difficult, too soon. A thick novel full of unfamiliar words might seem impressive, but it can also be frustrating. Instead, start small. Choose texts that are short, clear, and, most importantly, interesting to you. If you love cooking, read recipes. If you enjoy mysteries, find a short detective story. If you're curious about space, read a simple article about the stars. When you care about the topic, reading stops feeling like homework. It becomes a personal adventure. You're not just learning English, you're feeding your curiosity, your passions, and your joy. Use graded readers and keep a vocabulary notebook. Graded readers are books written specifically for learners. They use controlled vocabulary and grammar so you can read with confidence. These books come in many levels and genres: romance, travel, horror, history, so there's always something to match your taste. As you read, keep a vocabulary notebook nearby. Don't write down every word, just the ones that truly interest you or appear often. Include the definition, an example sentence, and even a personal connection. Maybe you learned the word brave while reading about a young hero. Write it down. Use it. That notebook will slowly become your own personal dictionary, full of words you've met and learned through real experiences. Practice reading aloud. And focus on main ideas. Reading isn't just for your eyes, it's for your voice too. When you read aloud, you improve pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency. You start to hear the music of the language, and when you say the words, your brain remembers them better. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Just enjoy the sound of your own progress. At the same time, don't stress about understanding every single word. Focus on the main ideas. What is the text about? What is the writer trying to say? Trust that your understanding will grow over time. Reading for the big picture is more useful and more fun than getting stuck on every detail. Set a regular schedule and join a reading group or club. Habits are built on consistency. You don't need to read for hours. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a big difference. Make it part of your routine, in the morning with coffee, during a lunch break, or right before bed. The more regular your reading becomes, the easier it feels, and the faster your skills grow. And remember, reading doesn't have to be a solo activity. Join a reading group or book club, even online. When you discuss stories with others, you get different ideas, hear new vocabulary, and learn to express your thoughts in English. You also get encouragement, and that can make all the difference. Explore different genres and celebrate small progress. Don't limit yourself. Read fiction, non-fiction, comics, poetry, blogs, and news. Each format teaches you something different. A poem may teach you beauty. A blog may show you everyday conversation. A news article might expand your worldview. Let your reading life be rich, colorful, and wide. And finally, celebrate your wins. Finished your first English story. That's amazing. Learn 20 new words. You're growing. Reading 3 times this week. You're building a habit. Don't wait for fluency to be proud. Every step forward deserves a celebration. So start where you are, use what you have, and read what you love. The journey doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to begin. Section 5. Using reading to improve speaking and writing. Reading doesn't have to stay on the page. It can come to life through your voice, your thoughts, and your pen. The most successful English learners don't just read, they turn reading into fuel for their speaking and writing. Every sentence you read can become a sentence you say. Every emotion you feel can become one you write. The trick is to engage with the story, not just observe it. Let's explore how to summarize what you read, verbally and in writing. After you finish reading something, no matter how short, don't close the book and forget it. Pause. Ask yourself, what was this about? Then try to summarize it in your own words. Say it out loud, even if no one's listening. This story was about a girl who overcame her fear of speaking English. You're not just retelling a story. You're training your brain to organize information, to use grammar naturally, and to speak fluently under pressure. You can also write your summary in a notebook or journal. This helps you practice sentence structure, punctuation, and clarity. Over time, you'll notice your thoughts becoming more organized, your writing more confident, and your voice stronger. Role-play dialogues and characters. One of the most fun and effective ways to improve speaking is through role-play. If you're reading a story with dialogue, choose a character. Read their lines aloud, feel their emotions. Add tone, add pauses, act it out. You can even grab a friend or language partner and perform scenes together. This is more than just practice. It's Real communication. You learn how sentences sound in conversation. You feel the rhythm, the emotion, the intention behind the words. And most of all, you get more comfortable speaking without overthinking. Write reflections, create discussion questions, and imitate writing styles. After reading, take a moment to reflect. How did the story make you feel? Did you agree with the author's message? Did something surprise you? Write your thoughts, feelings, or even questions in a notebook. This kind of writing is deeply personal and incredibly powerful for language development. You can also write questions about the reading. Why did the character make that choice? Or, what would I have done differently? These can be great conversation starters with a teacher, partner, or study group. If you admire the author's style, maybe it's poetic, funny, or full of vivid detail, try imitating it. Write your own short paragraph or story in a similar tone. You'll stretch your vocabulary, explore sentence patterns, and discover your own voice in the process. Use new vocabulary in active speaking and writing. Reading is full of treasure. New words and expressions hiding in every corner. But don't let them stay hidden. Take those words and bring them into your life. Let's say you learned the word astonished. Instead of just writing it down, try using it in a sentence. I was astonished when I passed my exam. Use it in a text message. Say it during a conversation. The more you use a word, the more it becomes yours. You can even challenge yourself. Today I'll use 3 new words from my reading in a sentence or conversation. Turn it into a game. Make it fun. Reading, when combined with active use, becomes more than just practice. It becomes transformation. You begin to think in English, speak with confidence, and write with clarity. So don't just read, react, respond, and reuse. That's how you turn pages into progress. Section 6. Overcoming common reading challenges. Let's be honest, reading in English isn't always smooth sailing. Sometimes it feels like walking into a fog. You meet strange words, long sentences, and cultural references that make you pause and wonder, am I even doing this right? But here's the good news. Every challenge you face is also a doorway, and with the right mindset and strategy, you can walk through it, not with frustration, but with confidence and curiosity. Deal with unfamiliar vocabulary using context and notebooks. You'll come across words you don't know. That's not a failure, it's part of the process. Don't rush to the dictionary every time. First, look at the sentence. What's happening? What's the mood? Are there clues around the word that help you guess its meaning? Context is your first teacher. Let it guide you. Then, if the word is useful or interesting, write it in your vocabulary notebook. Not just the definition. Write your own example sentence. Maybe even draw a little image or note what story it came from. Over time. This notebook becomes a reflection of your growth. Break down complex sentences. Some sentences feel like puzzles, long, full of commas with unfamiliar structures. Don't panic. Slow down. Break it apart. Find the subject. Find the verb. Then look for supporting details. You can even rewrite the sentence in a simpler way. For example, if you read, "Despite the heavy rain, the children who were already soaked continued playing with cheerful laughter," you can simplify it. "It was raining, but the children kept playing happily." It's okay to simplify first. The more you do this, the more confident you become in handling complexity. Stay motivated with engaging content. The biggest killer of reading habits? Boredom. If you're forcing yourself to read something you don't enjoy, it becomes a chore. Choose texts that spark your curiosity. A comic book, a true crime article, a love story, or even song lyrics. Whatever makes you want to turn the next page. When you're interested, motivation doesn't need to be forced. You'll read because you want to, not because you have to. And that's the energy that fuels long-term learning. Manage time with short, consistent reading sessions. Time is tight, life is busy. But you don't need hours, you just need consistency. 10 minutes before bed, 5 minutes during lunch, a few pages while waiting for the bus. These small moments add up. They build a habit. You can even set little challenges. I'll read for 15 minutes each morning this week, or I'll finish this short story by Sunday. Treat it like brushing your teeth. You may not see the results immediately, but over time the transformation is real. Accept mistakes as part of learning. Many learners feel embarrassed when they don't understand everything, or when they misinterpret a sentence. But guess what? That's normal, that's learning. Even native speakers don't understand every word they read. Mistakes are not signs of weakness. They are signs of effort, and effort is beautiful. So the next time you feel frustrated, remind yourself, this is part of the journey. I'm growing through this, and truly, you are. Learn from unfamiliar cultural references by exploring their meaning. Sometimes you'll read something that refers to a tradition, a holiday, or a phrase you've never heard of. Don't skip it. Explore it. Look it up. Ask a teacher or a friend. Let it open your mind to another way of life. For example, if you read a line like, "He felt like Scrooge on Christmas morning," and you've never heard of Scrooge, this is your chance to discover a Christmas carol and understand a cultural icon. These moments make your reading richer. They don't just teach you English, they teach you about the world. So yes, reading in English comes with challenges, but every challenge can be turned into a breakthrough. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going, one page at a time, because on the other side of struggle is strength, and every word you read is proof that you're stronger than you think. Section 7. Final encouragement. Reading in English is more than just an academic exercise. It's a quiet journey, a personal, powerful journey of growth, confidence, and connection. With every page you turn, you're not only learning new words or grammar structures, you're building something much more meaningful, a new version of yourself, braver, more curious, and more connected to the world. You've already taken an important step just by exploring this topic. But don't stop here. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect level of fluency. Start now with what you love. A short article, a children's book, a funny comic, or a moving story. The most powerful learning doesn't come from pressure, it comes from joy. Let reading be your refuge on tough days, your challenge on lazy days, and your celebration on good days. Let it be the voice that whispers, "You can do this," when doubt creeps in. Because you can. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Join the community. Talk about what you're reading. Ask questions. Share favorite quotes. Learning becomes richer when it's shared, when your story inspires someone else's journey. So go ahead, choose that first book, open that article, or revisit an old favorite. Let English become something you live through, not just something you study. Because every sentence you read is another step toward fluency, and every story you embrace is a chapter in your own. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and leave a comment to let us know what you think. Your support helps us stay motivated to create even more engaging and valuable stories to help you grow with English. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new release from LMJ English. 20 key vocabulary. repeated throughout journey, a personal experience of growth and discovery over time. Often used to describe the process of learning a language as more than just study, it's emotional and transformative. Confidence, the feeling of self-assurance that grows when you successfully understand or use English. Reading helps build this little by little. Context, the situation or background in which a word appears. Learning vocabulary through context means understanding how it's used in real life, not just in a dictionary. Vocabulary, the collection of words you know and use. Reading is one of the most effective ways to expand your vocabulary naturally. Grammar, the structure and rules of a language. In reading, grammar is learned passively, by seeing how sentences are built correctly, again and again. Fluency, the ability to speak or write smoothly and easily. Reading helps train your brain to think in English, which supports fluent expression. Comprehension, your ability to understand the meaning of what you read or hear. Regular reading strengthens this skill over time. Reflection, thinking deeply about what you've read or how it made you feel. Writing reflections after reading improves both writing and critical thinking. Summarize, to briefly explain the main points of a text. This skill helps you practice using your own words in speaking and writing. Engage, to actively participate or become emotionally involved. When you engage with a story, you learn more deeply. Curiosity, the desire to know or learn something. Choosing reading topics that spark curiosity keeps motivation high. Rhythm, the natural flow and sound of a language. Reading aloud helps learners feel and mimic the rhythm of English. Challenge, something that tests your ability, but also helps you grow. Difficult words or texts may be challenging, but they lead to progress. Motivation, the inner drive to keep learning. Finding stories you enjoy boosts motivation and creates a positive reading habit. Simplify, to make something easier to understand. Beginners can simplify complex sentences to improve comprehension. Habit, a regular practice or routine. Making, reading a daily habit, even for a few minutes, can lead to big improvements over time. Expression, the way emotions, ideas, or thoughts are shared in words. Reading helps you understand and later use emotional or cultural expressions naturally. Connection, a feeling of closeness or understanding. Reading helps you connect with the language, the culture, and even yourself. Perspective, a way of looking at something. Reading different texts exposes you to new perspectives and ways of thinking. Community, a group of people sharing a common interest. Joining a reading group creates a sense of support and shared growth.